Okay, so this is a preset I created recently that's really a combination of two presets that I've created in the past couple months that I've really liked. And if you watch my channel at all, you might have seen that I'm a big fan of the Lone Star model on the Quad Cortex. In fact, I did a whole video on it. I'll link to it here about how it's kind of my go-to amp model, especially the clean version of the Lone Star as a kind of a pedal platform, so to speak, on the Quad Cortex. And I had a preset that I really liked called Lone Star Halo. And this is the one I used in that video where I'm pushing, a Lone Star clean with some pedals and getting some really nice tones that I liked a lot. And I was real happy with that. But then also recently I did a preset that I called Lone Star Love Vibe. And on this one, I was using a dry version of Lone Star, which is something I hadn't done a lot before. And I was real happy with some of the tones on this. Some of the tones on this preset are kind of off the wall, with the Love Meat and things like that. I wouldn't use that a lot, but I like some of these drive tones. And so what I wanted to do was create a preset that was combining the best of, in my opinion, those Lone Star tones from both of those presets. And so that's what this is. And so as we look at this, anyone who's kind of used some of my presets is probably familiar with how I lay out scenes. So typically I lay it out left to right. It's clean through lead. So usually it's a clean, a low gain, a rhythm, and then a lead. And then I'll stack on top of each one a kind of boosted version of that, or some kind of affected version of that. So in this case, my core clean has a little bit of chorus on it. I've got one that puts a compressor on it. Here's kind of a low gain. I'm putting a flanger in front of that. Here's a drive. Here's one that has more drive to it, and then different versions of a lead. So let's go through this preset. And it's already available on my Cortex Cloud account. In fact, I've seen a good number of folks have already downloaded it. So I thought it'd be worthwhile to kind of go through it. So for the clean, what I'm doing is I'm actually running two Lone Stars in parallel. And you can see it here. This one, I've got the gain set on 4. You can see I've got the EQ setting. I'm running the EQ on thick here. And then this one, I'm running EQ on normal. The EQ is slightly different, a little less gain. Again, when I'm running amps in parallel, especially if they're the same amp model, I like to vary the settings just so it gets a little bit of a fuller tone. And those are running through dual IR. These are amalgam IRs from the free pack they have. I'll put the link to that in the description in case they don't come through when you download the preset. There's a Fender 2x12 and this Fender BFSR EV12 mix. And then the back end for all the scenes, I've got a plate reverb running into an analog delay. On the chorus, I've got a dual chorus, and the overall clean tone sounds like this. I guess the other thing I should mention is I do have a capture up front that's a Kingsley Page. So this is adding a little bit of an extra dumbly kind of aspect in front of the Lone Star. Again, it's really just adding a little bit of extra mids, and I like that for the clean tone. We turn it off. Here, it's just filling it in a little bit. I use this on a lot of my presets, and I like it quite a bit. The compressed version obviously turns on this dual compressor that's in the front. You can see I'm pulling the EQ back a little bit, just warming it up. Again, and the compressor is just filling in the tone. This is more for kind of a clean lead tone. And I should mention, as for most of my videos, I'm using a Strat style, an HSS Strat style guitar. So it's my John Page with 2 single coils and then a humbucker in the bridge. So for the ODR1, I'm doing just what it says. I'm adding in this ODR1 in front of the Lone Star, the clean version of the Lone Star, just for kind of a little bit of a rhythm. Kind of a low gain rhythm, nice kind of low gain blues. But it's also a nice kind of rhythm tone. And then for this scene, I'm adding in this flanger engine on the back to just give that a little bit of extra kind of effect. And I think I am pushing the output just a little bit because when you put the effect on it, it tends to kind of make it sit back in the mix a little more. So those are the kind of all based on the Lonestar clean tone. And then I do have one lead tone that's based around these Lonestar leads. And I've got that ODR1, and I'm kicking it with my Archer Icon capture that I use quite a bit, and the compressor on the front. And it sounds like this. So a real kind of mellow, Eric Johnson-y kind of lead, just kind of big and full, but without a lot of bite to it. And I like those kinds of things a lot. So the other ones are using the dry version. And again, this is pulled out of that other preset, that Lonestar Love Vibe thing, where I'm mixing a tweed and a normal. And you can see the gains are set up quite a bit differently on the two amps. For the tweed, I'm using more of the gain and less of the drive. And then on the normal, they're more or less even. I'm also using a different EQ setting. You can see here the one is thicker and the other is thick. And so that drive just sounds like this. Just kind of a nice, big, thick, warm, overdriven tone. It's also, if you go to the neck pickup, it's a very nice kind of blues tone. I know when I was playing this tone with a kind of Les Paul style guitar in one of the videos, someone made a comment about how much they really liked that tone. It was just a very kind of mellow, bluesy kind of tone on the kind of neck pickup of the Les Paul. It sounded really nice. And then for the more drive, you can see we're adding in a good amount more drive. So you can see here it's going from 4 and 5 to 7 on this amp. And on this one, it's going, the gain is going much more, but way more drive. And so we go from this to this. You can see we're dropping some of the mids out as well. It's going from 6.5 to 5. So we're scooping the mids out a little bit just to maybe get a little more clarity. And then this lead one, what it's doing is it's putting the compressor and the Archer Icon in front of that tone. So that is my kind of combined Lonestar preset. Like I said, this is already on the Cortex Cloud. Feel free to grab it, download it. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.